This video is going to have a lot of content and it will essentially finish our project. So we may have to pause this quite frequently to do each step, so be ready for that. Before we begin, take a look at your layers over here on the right. We want to double check that all of our layers are set up. It's very crucial for all projects, but in particular this one. In the top two, you should have both of your stock photos, stock photo 1 and 2. Yours may or may not change order based on which one you want in the front. That's how mine happen to be. After that, you should have your color rectangle. This one should be your third layer no matter what. That for me is my green one. Color will vary per person. And then your fourth layer should be the photo that you chose that we layer masked into another existing rectangle. And then last but not least is your default background. Again, this should be unlocked. We should have renamed it. If not, dial back and check how to do that. All right, so today we're going to be starting with the background, changing the color, and adding some other features to the background. So we'll get into that right now. So make sure that you have your background layer selected. Right now I do. You can tell again because of the light gray color. And what I'm going to do is I want to change it to like a light gray. Down here in the bottom left, you have your color picker of your primary and secondary color. Double click on your primary color, the top square, and then you can go ahead and choose a color. For now though, I want everybody to choose kind of like a medium to slightly darker gray. Reason being is that later you can easily change this to a color that's more suitable for you, and we can all do it together. It's easy to edit later. So go ahead and do a medium to slightly lower, darker than medium gray, hit OK. After that, we want to paint the entire background with that color. The paint bucket tool, in my opinion, is the best to do that with, but it might be hidden underneath the gradient tool. The gradient tool is, as you can see right here, it's about halfway down on your toolbar. If you click and hold, you will see paint bucket. You'll also notice that the hotkey for gradient and paint bucket are both G, but G will only pick the one that is selected out of these. So click and hold and select paint bucket. After you do that, if you click anywhere on your canvas, it will change it to whatever your primary color is. In this case, the gray that we've chosen. All right, we need to do these on new layers, and then I think we're going to merge them is how I think we should kind of play this out. We're going to be adding stripes to the background, so it's not just one flat color. To do that, we're going to make a new layer. Again, creating a new layer is down here in the bottom right with the little plus sign. If you click that, you'll see layer 1. Don't worry about naming these right now because I do think that after we do this, we might as well just merge them. Then we can name it. We're going to be using the rectangular marquee tool right here. M is the default hotkey. M is in mom. And what I want to do is I just want to make strips. So what I'm going to do is take this, click and drag to where I get a long rectangle that goes all the way across the canvas. If you want to, and I'm going to do it, I would recommend it. These eyeballs here that I'm clicking will not delete the layers, but they hide them. This way it doesn't interfere with us designing our background, then we'll show them again when we're done. So now that I have this rectangle here, I'm going to go back to my paint bucket or hit G on the keyboard. And I'm going to just vary my levels of grays. So in this case, I'll go really dark with this one. And then I'm going to paint bucket it in. Now that it's in here though, I want to take the move tool up here, or V, and I can use this to kind of rotate my rectangle, and I can also enlarge it by stretching it out this way. And make it a little bit bigger that way as well. And then I'll hit enter. Oh, it's still selected, as you can tell here, which is fine, but if it bothers you, it bothers me. I want to see it without the dotted lines. Command and D, as in dog, will deselect, or Command D as in deselect. Ta-da! All right, I recommend that we make each stripe on a new layer. That way we can edit them individually. So we're going to hit new layer here, down in the bottom right, layer 2. And then I'm going to make another one. We'll make this one a little chunkier by default. Go back here to my color picker, and we're going to go just a little bit lighter than that one. Hit OK. Go back, grab your paint bucket tool, click in. Same thing now. Move tool. We're going to rotate. It's okay if it's not the exact rotation as the other one. You're going to see why in just a second here. I'm going to stretch this guy out, make it pretty big. maybe even make them a little bit bigger this way as well, and then hit enter to confirm. And then I'm going to go back to my marquee tool to get set up and ready for the next one. Again, Command D, just to deselect and see what that looks like. Pretty cool with that. We're happy with that. I'm going to go ahead and hit this plus sign once more. And we're going to do a real thin one this time. Go down here to my color, and I'm actually going to go much lighter on this one. Hit OK. Paint bucket it. Move tool. Turn it. Try to line it up, close enough anyway, and then we're going to stretch this one out. I am going to try to keep this one relatively thin in comparison, but I am going to make sure that it goes all the way across the canvas. Marquee tool, Command D. All right, I still want a few more though because I want them to go all the way across the canvas. I don't really want to leave, I can leave that up there, like a little bit of a spot there, and maybe I'll leave a spot here. We'll actually just go for the bottom on this one. So I got my little part right there. Something you can do, you can move the color picker window away, and I can take that gray, like by literally sampling it. See that eyedropper tool that's out on the screen there? It'll sample the exact color, and then what I can do is like slightly move it, just so it's like a little bit different than what I had originally. Paint bucket it in. I want it to be different than the other grays, which it looks like it is. Then I'm going to take the move tool, and I'm going to rotate. I'm going to place him down towards the bottom, stretch him up a little bit. And something else you can do. I don't have a great visual, but if you look at the arrow keys on your keyboard, like the bottom right, if you're using one of the MacBooks, and then you can just ever so slightly hit those, and it'll move it like pixel by pixel, which is really nice. There we go. Oh, you'll notice that right here, this clipped off. And I know exactly the reason why. So this was an accident, not gonna lie, but I'll show you how to undo this. Command Z will undo one step at a time. Now here I am. I have my selection. But the reason that this happened is because I'm on layer 3 still. I forgot to make a new layer. It didn't act independently of the other layers. So now I can go back and paint bucket inside and then move it. This way here, when I rotate, it shouldn't have that clipping error. Yeah, we're good now. That the other one had. The other one did because I paint bucketed on top of it because they were on the same layer. I want them on different layers. Go here, hit enter, Command D to deselect, and then we'll also go back to the marquee tool there just to kind of clear things up. So now I have a lot more of a dynamic background. I'm going to bring in my other layers just to see what they look like with it on. Cool, something different anyway. Now layer 4 through layer 1, I want to merge them. Right now I have layer 4 selected. I'm going to hold down the shift key on your keyboard, and I'm going to click on layer 1. You'll notice that it'll select every layer in between. There is like a way, I believe it's through layer, and then possibly there might be merge or like arrange merge. No. I know the hotkey way. I think it's easily the best way. Oh, here it is, merge layers. But the hotkey, as you can see, is Command E will merge layers. So you can either go layer, merge layers, or if you want to be a little bit faster without that, hold down the command button and hit E. And you'll see all of them together. It keeps the name of the topmost layer, which was layer 4, but I'm going to change that. We'll call these the bars, B-A-R-S. We want them right above the background, just as they are right now. All right, let's do one more little effect here before this video wraps up. Color rectangle. I want you to select this layer. What we're going to be doing is adding kind of like a bounding box around it, and that we can kind of use it in multiple places as well. We want to duplicate this layer though, just in case I mess anything up. I definitely don't want to do it to the actual one. To duplicate a layer, click and drag it down onto the new layer button. If you let go, you'll notice that it makes a copy. Color rectangle copy. Right now I'll tell you what this is going to be. It's going to be like a white box. We're going to call this white box. And then you can hit enter. Now with this white box layer selected, it looks exactly the same because they're both green layers on top of each other, yada yada. You'll see in a little bit though. I'm going to hide both your stock photos, hide everything above it, just so we get a better view of this. Go down here to the effects button, or layer style, right here, under the layer menu, and you're looking for one called stroke. Strokes are kind of like outlines. They function the same way in Illustrator too when we get to there. So go ahead and hit stroke, And you'll see that it'll create an outline of a color around the box. The color that we want for this is white, just straight up white. So go up to the top of the color picker window and hit white. If the position is not outside and it's inside, you got to change that to outside. Definitely don't do center as well. So choose outside. Blend mode should be normal by default, and the opacity should also be 100. The size, I have no idea what the default size. It's probably really low. It's probably 2 or 3. Make sure that you change the size to 20 pixels. You can type in 20 right here, or you could use the slider to like move it around. But sometimes when I use the slider, I stay there for days trying to get the exact number I want. So I can just go in and type 20. After you have that, click OK. You'll notice that below the layer, you'll see effects and stroke. I can hide the individual effects without hiding the layer itself. But we want these to act as one. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to make a new layer, layer 1 right here. I'm going to hold Shift under the white box, or select white box as well, and hit Command E. Something that it will do, unfortunately, it probably wipes out the name white box, which is layer 1 now. So I'm going to go back in, rename it white box. It has this green box to it though, right? Like, let me hide these other layers here just so we can just look at white box and our bars in our background. I want to get rid of the green. To do that, there's a tool called Magic Wand. It's under the Object Selection tool, 4th one down from the top, right here. And then if you click and hold, you'll see Magic Wand, or W for wand. Well, you have to select it first. Then we can go back and use those. You'll be using the Object Select and the Quick Select a lot as well. All 3 of these are really, really good tools. Go ahead and click inside on the green part of the rectangle, or whatever your color is, and then you'll notice it will not select the white, it just selects the color itself. Once you have that color selected, whatever yours is, hit delete on your keyboard, and boom, you have just a white box now. Command D to deselect, and then we can bring everything else back and check everything else out with it. Now the reason why, you might be saying, well, wait a minute, why did I not just leave it on the original color rectangle? Because this gives us a lot more control. I'm going to duplicate it first, actually. We're going to make a new layer by taking the white box and copying it down. Oops, I just moved it. Don't do that. Bring that back up. Bring it onto the new layer. Let go. Now, I'm going to hide the original white box because I want to work with the copy just in case I mess up. And then that way I have multiple as well. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger than the box itself. Just kind of line it up however you want. There's no right or wrong to this. But this way it adds a little bit of dimension that it's not like just right there. Something else you could do with it too that's kind of neat, I think, is like have it butt up against one side but extend out on the other. I think that's actually what I might do with this, is kind of have it like here. And then I'm going to use these arrow keys that I was talking about to just kind of shimmy it ever so slightly. So it's a little uneven like that. And then I'm going to take the marquee tool, and I'm actually going to delete some parts just to see what it kind of looks like. That way it's not like a perfect box. With the marquee, I just clicked and dragged, selected that. I'm going to hit delete. Then maybe I'll take out this corner down here, hit delete. I'm going to hit Command D to deselect to see if I like it. I do. I don't think I like this bit up here though, so I think I'm actually going to get rid of this as well, and Command D. Yeah, cool. The reason why we made that white box copy was because now I can bring back the original box to edit again, which I do want to actually do. So once again, I'm going to click and drag the original white box down to the new layer and white box copy 2. Hide the original white box, again, just in case, leaving that original one there. Take this guy, we're going to move him up here, and we're going to try to like mess around with him on this one. So once again, kind of scale it up. Do not worry about it being perfect. It looks, style that we're going for should not be perfect here. And then we're going to shimmy around and find a spot that you think you like. And go a little bit more normal on this one right here. Take the rectangular marquee tool. I definitely don't want any obstructions over there with those lines, so I'm going to delete that. And then maybe to counterbalance this, I'm going to go this way and delete those. That way I have some corner stuff here and then corner stuff in the other area. This is too much over here, so we are going to get rid of that. And we will get rid of this right here. again, you make the calls. Don't feel you got to make yours look exactly like mine. White box is going to remain here. We don't want to delete it, but we are going to leave it hidden, even in the final result. But we have white box copy and white box copy 2 ready to go. All right. To keep this video not incredibly long, our last and final video will be doing some things with text and also changing the colors of the bars and background, showing you guys how to kind of do that. So for now, we want to save, file, save. Again, it will save over top of your existing file, which is exactly what you want, and you're ready to go for the last and final part.